Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be making pottage beans or whatever they call it, I don't know. In the boiling water I went with my neatly selected beans. After that you allow it to parboil and then you sieve it out. Guys, don't mind the pomo in the video. I added my pomo because it was a bit strong, so I needed to cook it until it's soft before I will be using it. You may want to wash your beans very well thoroughly. Also add salt and wash it very well until the water runs clear, just as I'm doing it like this. After washing, I'll go ahead and sieve out the water that I used in washing it, just as I'm doing it. You may also want to be gentle with that. After sieving, I showed a clearer view of what the beans looked like when I was done washing. Guys, look at that, neatly washed, looking so sparkling and clean. Next, in the boiling water, I will reintroduce the beans into the pot. Cover that. A few minutes later, I will add sliced onions, just a bit of it. The essence of this is to add fragrance into the beans. You know, beans and onions are 5 and 6. Next, I'll go in with my palm oil into a pot, heat it up a bit, and then introduce your onions. You may want to stir that also properly to combine. Fry a little bit until it is translucent a bit. Next, I'll go in with my blended pepper mix. Guys, I used shombo, tatache, and a bit of the yellow hot scotch bonnet pepper to make this. You don't know what the aroma of this combination of peppers can do to your beans. Next, I poured it in just like I said, and then I'll stir properly to combine. Wow, at this point the aroma in my kitchen was already nose blinding. Before I forget, I also added a bit of red bell pepper to the pepper mix. Yes, sorry, I forgot. And that goes one of the pepper that couldn't blend properly. I just cited that during the camera. Don't worry, we'll remove it off camera. Next, you cover that to simmer for about 2 to 3 minutes so they could fry. And look at that, the quantity has reduced. That is because the water in the pepper mix has fried down. Yes, fried down. What? I don't know now, Nasabi. Next, I'll introduce my smoked mackerel fish, deboned smoked mackerel fish, and then the pomo. Yes, at this point it is now soft, so I reintroduce it into my sauce. Stir that properly to combine. Allow it to simmer for some minutes as well. Guys, I don't know, people that cook beans without mackerel fish, I don't know what they are thinking. I introduced my grounded crayfish. You also want to be generous with crayfish. Then I went in with my beans. At this point, the beans was 75% cooked. Look at that, very soft. It was 75% cooked. I adjusted with seasoning and salt. Then I went ahead to stir properly to combine. You also want to be gentle while stirring so you don't break the smoked mackerel fish. I added water a bit, just a little water, and then stir properly to combine very well. Like I said, you may want to be gentle while stirring so you don't end up breaking up all the smoked mackerel fish. I just added it earlier so the flavor of the smoked mackerel fish could infuse into the sauce. That was the reason for adding it. Cover, allow to simmer for extra 2 to 3 minutes. And guys, look at that, pot of glory pottage beans. You don't know what these beans did to my siblings and I. It was amazing. Wow, just look at that. Look at that, so yummy. At this point, some people would add vegetable if they want. I usually do add vegetable, but I guess there was none in the fridge, so it was still lovely after all. I'm trying to stir properly. And remember, at this point, you are cooking on low heat. I forgot to mention, you are cooking on low or medium heat at this point. The beans is ready, and then take care of the heat and set it aside to cool. Don't eat beans that is hot. You will purge. So I allowed it to rest a bit, and then this is what it looked like after a few minutes of letting it to rest. At this point, I'm trying to dish out the portion I'll be eating. I like to pair this with pap. I made it myself, very thick. Yes, look at that. Look, there are no lumps. That's because I stir it properly. I turn it properly while making. I added some liquid milk. Some people like to use powdered milk. Anyone can do. I also added grounded sugar, and I top it up with honey. Guys, you don't want to know what this tasted like. Look at that. Wow, wow, wow. That will be all for now. See you in my next video. Thank you, guys, and don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and drop a comment. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.